I inherited my home a few months ago after my parents passed away. I'm a 21-year-old girl who is living her best life despite my parents' death, because honestly, I'm still not sure if they are dead. But as far as the state is concerned, Mr. and Mrs. Mayberry, aka my parents, are dead. Confused? You're honestly not alone in this matter. So I'll start from the beginning, then catch us all up as to why I'm writing my account of what's been going on around here. It started with my parents arguing over needing a new bed. Mom was hellbound on keeping it, and Dad believed it was time for a new one because it was hurting both of them. My mom's only returning argument to this, other than it's been in her family for 2 generations, was that it was something that you needed to get used to. Personally, I was with Dad on this one. After all, it's just a bed. The arguing continued for a while, several months to be exact. Dad had about enough and refused to sleep in that bed with her. That's when he began to sleep on the couch. The thing that started to bother me was Mom's reaction to this. I thought she would be angry, or at the very least, have a look of, fine, have it your way. But instead, she had a look of fear on her face, as if what Dad said was shocking. No, more as if Dad decided to murder her. She begged and pleaded for Dad to sleep with her in the bed again, but he brushed her off. He continually told her that she either got rid of the damn bed or enjoyed sleeping alone. That's when this nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach began. I just kept having this sinking feeling that my mother was holding back information from Dad. It kept bothering me to the point where I decided to skip class. I knew if there was no way to get enough sleep to study, then there was no point in going. That, and I didn't really care for Mr. Bridges' lectures. My parents didn't want me skipping classes because of their arguments, but I tried to explain that it was more than that. It was a feeling that something wasn't right at all. Like a dark presence. My parents brushed it off as I was simply thinking too much and stressed out. If only they would have listened. That night, on March 15th, 2018, I woke up to my mother screaming from my parents' bedroom. By the time I burst through the door, there was nothing left. It looked as if no one had been in this room in ages. The bed was clean and made. Everything looked put away neatly, but the odd thing was I heard my mom's muffled scream for a second, but after searching the house, I couldn't find them at all. In my panic, I did the only thing that I could do. Ran away and called the police. When I called them, I told them everything leading up to the disappearance. They told me that they would do the best that they could to find them. I wanted to take it as something of a warm gesture, but I knew they suspected me, and I couldn't blame them. However, without any evidence, they couldn't press charges. I've spent the last few months trying to figure it out. The only reason that I decided to throw parties and pretend to live my best life was because I figured eventually, whatever took my parents away would eventually show itself. Or at the very least, it would keep the creature from coming after me next. The only thing I was truly sure of is that whatever took my parents from me, my mother knew exactly who or what it was, and she was so scared of it, she needed my father to keep it away. May 18th, 2020. I feel like a cliche at this point when I say this, but I don't know how much more I can take. My last post was a month ago. I've been seeing a therapist about my parents' disappearance, as it was starting to affect my relationships. I thought honestly it was all in my head, but something was haunting my dreams, and as I write this, I can feel it taunting me. My therapist recommended getting rid of the old mattress, as it's very possible that since my mother acted so weirdly attached to it, I could be developing the same habit out of loneliness and needing to feel my parents there again. I couldn't help but to agree, as even I wondered why I kept it. However, when I touched it for the first time in months, I felt half of my body submerge into a dark pool as something screamed. I couldn't see its face, but I could hear it in my head. May 30th, 2020. It's gotten worse. The thing from my last post happened again. In my last post, I only heard the creature. This time, as I tried to pull myself out of this tar pool-like substance, I saw myself falling into an endless abyss. Only a small area of light touched what seemed to be the face of my parents. I began to panic as I saw them dragging me further deep. As they took a copy of me further down, they looked up and smiled wickedly at me, as if to tell me that I was next. With all the strength that I could muster, I pulled myself out as quickly as I could. I gasped for air as I stumbled backwards and fell on my ass as I pressed my back to the wall. "What the fuck was that?" I said as I tried to pull myself together. I chalked it up to another hallucination and decided to contact my therapist in the morning. I began to feel sleepy, and in my lack of sleep, my judgment dwindled as I made my way to the bed and covered myself in the sheets that hadn't been washed in what came close to a year. I know it was stupid, but like a moth to a flame, I couldn't resist. In the morning, I didn't notice anything other than pain along my right hand. It was that kind of pain where you clearly gripped onto something for too long. I went to work and tried to forget it all. It wasn't until I was returning home from work when it happened. Something whispered in my ear.
"Don't go back."
Freaking out by this point, I looked around and saw nothing. June 5th, 2020. It suddenly flashed in my head, that feeling that I had tried blocking out of my head. I was sinking into my bed and tried not to fall deeper into it, but I barely pulled myself out. That's when my back started to hurt. The good thing was that by the time I arrived home, there was still daylight. I figured this was my chance to get rid of my parents' bed once and for all. It hurts to get rid of a piece of your parents, especially when you miss them so much. But it had to be done. That's when something unusual occurred. Pictures fell from the mattress. Definitely ones that I had not seen before. They were of Mom, but not in a way that I had ever seen her before. She looked possessed, as if she was taking a life in a lake nearby. No, not nearby. Right behind the house. In all the pictures, it looked as if she truly enjoyed what she was doing. This can't be, I thought, as I dropped the pictures to the floor. I almost screamed as one of the pictures was me. On the picture, written in some kind of red liquid, was the words, My mind raced as I tried to put the pieces together, and then suddenly it hit me. That night, Mom and Dad argued for the first time. Mom made a dash upstairs after Dad told her to sleep alone. I thought Dad ignored her, but the images in my mind played out differently. I tried to ask him what was wrong, but he ignored me. I cried myself to sleep on the floor, but when I woke up to Mom's screams, it wasn't all that happened. I did see them in their room. Dad looked angrily at me and said,
"Why are you still alive?"
After that, everything went blank. Final entry, July 6th, 2020. How I survived this long is a mystery. I refused to give myself to anyone, even if it meant my safety against whatever this thing was. Hell will freeze over before I allow myself to destroy myself, which is what I thought the creature wanted. I'm honestly scared out of my mind. Is this what Mom felt in her last days? I guess I need to clear a few things up before I'm done. I'm honestly not sure if I can survive much longer. The pictures I found of Mom enjoying herself drowning others had something more to it. It appears that it was Dad that took the pictures. They were both Mooresville's most dangerous cultists. The sinking feeling I kept feeling in the bed turned out to be a warning that if I didn't follow in their footsteps, I would join them. As for the fear my mother felt that night, according to her diary entries, going to bed was her code for offering to create another child to sacrifice. It seemed that I was the fourth child, but the only one who survived. They were going to bring another child into the world, when Dad realized that Mom's body turned into a puddle of her former self. That's why he asked me why I was still alive. This thing that my parents worshipped wanted children of different ages. My siblings were kidnapped from other families in order to be farmed in the cellar. When Mom tried to sacrifice me, their God would bless them with 4 children of their own. They did all of this just to have a big family to call their own. It failed because I lived. I screamed and cried over this knowledge and completely forgot something because of it. They made sure that I was dead and left me there afloat to be taken by their deity. But I came back to life. I wish I could tell. Shit, sorry, it's coming for me. I'll try to leave this positive thought before it takes me. I refused to feed it. My arm fell off and became liquid. Don't feed it. Don't feed.
Children are such useless creatures, but easy to manipulate. Your death is my new beginning. You were born to be my vessel. Now that you have become that and more, I can go feed on all the foolish mortals watching this vlog. And believe me, you all look so delicious.
We hope you enjoyed today's content. A special shout out goes to Lady Nopeingham for challenging us to create something out of her nightmare. It was a fun challenge, and we hope to do more in the near future. A special thank you goes to Stories Told by Beaky and Phoenix Fire. Please do check out their channels. Links in the description below. They made this Dark Lord smile by knowing that I made an impact on their lives, and I truly believe they will only get better from here on out. Lastly, thank you to our lovely Darklings and Shadow Beasts. Your generous donations allow the channel to grow just that much more. If you too would love to be one of our children of darkness, consider joining us on Patreon. And remember,
we're always watching.